هذا وأكد جلالة الملك عبد الله الثاني أن حل الدولتين هو الحل الوحيد لإنهاء الصراع الفلسطيني الإسرائيلي، محذرا من أن حل الدولة الواحدة يعني مستقبلا عنصريا لإسرائيل وهو أمر كارثي. وخلال مقابلة بثتها شبكة NBC الأمريكية، أكد جلالته على وقوف الأردن إلى جانب المملكة العربية السعودية إثر الاعتداء الأخير الذي تعرضت له المنشآت النفطية في أرامكو، مشيرا جلالة الملك إلى أن أمن السعودية واستقرارها يعتبر من أمن الأردن.
We have had our issues and challenges with Iran. And again, for us, the attacks on Saudi Arabia is of tremendous importance to Jordan. We have an outstanding relationship with the Saudis. We are committed to their defense. Having said that, I think many of us over the past 6 months, if not more, have been trying to caution escalation and calm things down. And relatively, that's happened across the summer. Obviously, the attack on Aramco has upped the ante, and this is a very important week in New York, where I think all of us are trying to figure out how to step away from the brink of war.
The Wall Street Journal had a report that it's not that clear to many experts that it was Iran. Do you think it absolutely was Iran that launched these attacks?
The reports that I've gotten, the type of weaponry, drones and missiles that were used, definitely a state actor, maybe using non-state actors is probably the politest way of saying it.
Proxies.
So I think we all believe that we know who the culprit is. Why did it get to this level? And now can we calm things down and walk away from stupidity, I guess is the way of describing it.
Do you think diplomacy is still possible? And should the President of the United States meet with President Rouhani if that could be worked out?
Well, again, if you're going to meet, you want to meet to be able to achieve something. So, the President would be in a far better position than any of us to decide whether or not that's a valid way of going. I've always believed, as His late Majesty King Hussein did, that diplomacy, dialogue, reaching out to the other is the only way to go. Because what is the alternative? The alternative is violence. And we've all learned the hard way in our part of the world that wars are really easy to get into and almost impossible to get out of.
The U.S. has a maximum pressure campaign and recently sanctioned, only days ago, the central bank of Iran. How does Iran now react when it is being squeezed with the toughest sanctions on any country in the world right now?
So again, I think one has to be careful that when you push somebody in a corner where they have nothing else to lose, that creates its own set of problems. But I think maybe if I take a step back, I always try to explain the challenges of Iran as they tend to give themselves an A+ for foreign policy, i.e. their ability to affect issues in Iraq and Syria, Lebanon through Hezbollah, Yemen. But kind of give themselves a C- for internal diplomacy. We know that they haven't been able to meet salaries for most of the citizens. I think people are very frustrated inside that country. But any country faced with an external challenge is going to rally around the flag. So again, I think we have to be smart on what is the aim and what is the strategy that we can all agree with as part of the coalition forces to make sure that Iran takes a step back and we can calm tensions in the Gulf.
There was an independent Pentagon report last month that said that ISIS is resurging in Iraq and Syria since the U.S. withdrawal of most of our troops, and that even though there's no ISIS territory or caliphate, it is now operating virtually and raising the ISIS flag in Al-Hol. This is of direct threat to you and.
Well, I think from a security border point of view, we fought ISIS on two of our borders, Syria and Iraq, for a while. I don't see we're not worried about that, but you're absolutely right that ISIS, especially to get technical, the Syrian campaign over the past year, pushing them out of Syria into the southern Euphrates, they were being pushed into western Iraq. And this is one of the reasons why Jordan and Egypt have reached out to the Iraqis for better coordination. We've got to keep in mind that as we're dealing with the Syrian regime, and there was a major game changer today where I think we're moving to more constitutional issues to get Syria moved into the right direction. We've got to remember that there's still two stories in Syria. How do we deal with the regime and how do we move society on? But the war against terror, not only in Syria, but into western Iraq. Due to maybe a concentration on the peace process. We've seen it in the South, the vacuum that's been created there because coalition forces are no longer engaged. There has been resurgence of ISIS. We are all aware of this. We're coordinating with each other. But I think we still need to do a little bit more. And for the next 6 months, if we don't keep our eye on the ball in Western Iraq and Syria, then we're just actually giving the narrative and the ability for ISIS to reestablish itself.